Ghana and South Africa strengthen bilateral relations.
And Kenya closed 2 refugee camps due to the lack of security and economic challenges.
Hello, good evening and welcome to our studios. You're live on GBC24 and GTV. This is News Hour. My name is Akpene Avo Ajaja.
And my name is Selike Makolachi Apolomini. Thanks for joining us. Now the news in detail. President John Mahama has ordered the Ministry of Roads and Highways to abrogate the contract of the road contractor working on the Gomwa and Kamu Deramponga Francis Road for poor performance.
It was the toughest decision yet by the president during his accounting to the people tour of the central region. Napoleon Atokito reports.
This is the road that exacted a tough decision from President John Mahama. He had an ocular proof of shoddy work being done by the contractor working on the Gumwa and Kamu de Rampon, a Francis Road, a dusty and gully-riddled road of about 60 kilometers. This raises fundamental questions. What is the track record of the contractor who was awarded the contract to execute the road project? Why must it take the president's own assessment before remedial work may be done on the road when there are persons exercising delegated powers in the local area? That everywhere the president goes, he is met with requests for roads to be mended is indicative of the volume of work which remain outstanding in that sector. What then might have left many roads in the country unattended for a long time, for which the present administration is forced to bend steeply backwards to do? A statement by Gomwa chief suggests that increased demands on the president may be driven by a desire in others to have their turn, based on palpable evidence of work being done around the country. This then affirms the government's policy of spreading out development equitably across the geographical field.
Mestre oye yamampin onka na adwen na kwana audition contractors wansano oye ayro papa pare oye ayro do mo brempon na obrifo na hefo na yamamba na wobugomu ano oye ayro bebre mestre bebre so contractor na wode man no na onya dia no onyi sika omo wode ana wo push contractor no another one for kan do omo banma oye roadi entire bedo wo to abano na roadi why you obrempon obrifo ya so mo ki.
President John Mahama said the government has secured funds to build 6 new fishing harbors in coastal areas, including Joma or Manford. He said the other concern of Gomwa East, being boundary disputes with Ghana South, will be referred to the Electoral Commission for prompt attention.
Contractor Rehubi and one fidi Rehubi and Egu a Quanodo. Enti measure ejuma no oboro contractor no oboro no do enti maka kire roads minister onoti hoy alaji inusa fusheni maka kire de yenje ejuma no en free contractor nsem Fama contractor obeti mi aka no ho dendende senebeya dema nanakan abra besaba edru abato bre no na ya ankasa yehu de yakwan no na nyame adom nti orkodo.
President John Mahama then cut sword for the construction of a polyclinic at Gomwa de Rampon. 8 more are to be built in other parts of the central region. Napoleon Atokito reporting.
Back in the national capital, Ghana and South Africa have agreed to strengthen existing ties between them in areas of politics, economics, defense and security. This was when the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration hosted the 4th Ghana-South Africa Permanent Joint Commission for Cooperation in Accra.
Ghana and South Africa are both former British colonies, members of the African Union and Commonwealth of Nations. Following the end of the apartheid regime in South Africa in 1994 and the first democratic elections in Ghana in 1992, the volume of trade between the two nations grew extensively with the establishment of bilateral relations. Records show that the level of investment in trade between the two countries increased from 2.6 billion rands in 2010 to 10.8 billion rands in 2014. A recent extension of business visa for Ghanaians to 10 years by the South African Embassy is a clear indication that the Rainbow Nation is committed to a favorable trade ties between her and Ghana. The Minister for Foreign Affairs, Ms. Hannah Tete, says the agreement will extend the frontiers of trade between the two countries.
So we recognize that there is still some work to be done. I would very much like to encourage you to expedite your follow-up activities so that we can see real, tangible programs, projects, and initiatives coming out of this joint commission.
Some of the new areas of cooperation include rail, maritime, environment, oil and gas, imports and exports, science and technology.
It is in our hands now to indeed do something that we would be remembered for. That the misfortune of the commodity prices collapsing, it might be an opportunity for us to indeed put words into practice of how we are going to beneficiate and be able to export beneficiated goods and services, wherein we will be able to absorb the opportunity we have of young people in the continent.
The session attracted senior officials and governance experts from 15 South African ministries and 33 Ghanaian agencies. South Africa is the next to host the 5th Ghana-South Africa Permanent Joint Commission for Cooperation.
The government has further explained its decision to replace teacher trainee allowances with student loans. It says the move grants increased access to colleges of education and the financial muscle to build more educational infrastructure. Addressing students of the University of Education at Winneba, President John Mahama said the new measure abolishes the quota system, which puts a cap on admissions to the colleges of education, and money saved used in creating space for additional student intakes. Napoleon Atukito reports.
Staff and students at the Winneba campus of the University of Education have expressed gratitude to government for this road. The road network on campus has been upgraded with the university's internally generated funds. It follows a measure which granted the retention of universities' IGFs instead of going into broad government chest. It adds to 10 kilometers of road asphalts in the Winneba township by government. President John Mahama was hailed by the gathering of the university when he went there to address them. When he had the floor, he spared no time by confronting an issue within the domain of education, broached by a stormy debate in political circles.
My dear students, nation building requires bold decisions that can stand the test of time and benefit society in the long run, not short-lived, extravagant promises intended only to harvest concerns for political benefit.
The president said the measure has given government the means to build more colleges of education and ease restrictions on student intakes.
Government therefore decided to swap, and note my words, government therefore decided, people say scrap, wasn't scrap. Government therefore decided to swap the teacher trainee allowances with the student loan scheme as is operating in all other universities that train teachers. And I'm sure that you are familiar with the student loan scheme. By so doing, government will be able to plow back the 282 million Ghana cedis that would have been paid to teacher trainees in expanding education so that we can employ more teachers. We need money to build more schools, to build more community-day senior high schools, and would have been spending 282 million Ghana cedis today.
Then he cited an example to buttress his point.
Sadiq Jones applied twice in succession, and because of the quota system, did not gain admission. The third time he applied, by the grace of God, the quota system had been abolished. And so on his third attempt, he gained admission into Nasrat Jahan College of Education. Now, if we had maintained trainee allowances and the quota system, Sadiq Jones will still be sitting at home today as I speak.
Now, the expanded access has increased admissions by 63%. Meanwhile, the government says that feeding programs for teacher training institutions remain unchanged. Napoleon Atukito for GTV.
Locating a place in an urban area like Accra is quite challenging, as directions are given with reference to physical structures like a food vendor's joint. Government has therefore taken steps to ensure that the addressing system in the capital and the rest of the country is in sync with international standards. But this initiative is yet to be appreciated by residents in the capital, with most still stuck to the old ways of giving directions.
General Ankara High Street, Sir Ako Kosa Road, Atomi Road, Wonkaya Close, Dode Link, Emerald Avenue. These are but a few of the street addressing system deployed by the Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development to help identify a place or dwelling. The street addressing system involves the naming and then numbering of properties along them.
The process started with a house numbering system. We are about 80% through the house numbering system. The next phase is the street naming system. So once you are able to name the streets and you are able to locate the house on the street, then it is done. Once it is done, an arrangement will be entered with Google, and then Google would upload the completed house addressing and then street naming system onto the system.
It is sometimes a nightmare for visitors to look for relatives, friends and business partners because there are no streets and house names to guide them. In a myriad of challenges and difficulties, a number of initiatives have been established for urban services to continue to function. One of such initiatives is the street naming and addressing system.
It is important because it helps you to locate people. It helps government and local government to be able to mobilize revenue. It also helps in the area of, as it were, postal services. It even helps in electricity billing. It helps in water and other utility services.
In the face of rampant fire outbreaks, crime and accidents, the emergency services have welcomed this initiative.
It is very important because it has improved our efficiency and effectiveness in discharging our operations, because people are able to call us and tell us and mentioning the street names, and by the street names we are able to drive straight to where the incident is.
With the introduction of the street naming system, that has really helped a lot, because then now you are able to get specific names. An additional advantage for this particular naming system is the fact that with technology, you can easily apply that to be able to gain access.
Those times when we receive distress calls, it becomes increasingly difficult for us to locate the scene of crime or where actually the incident is taking place. But this time around, with a call through an accurate location by way of mentioning the street name, we are able to get there immediately to take action.
Data from the World Bank shows that Africa has experienced the highest urban growth during the last 2 decades at 3.5% per year, and this rate of growth is expected to hold into 2015. Projections also indicate that between 2010 and 2030, some African cities will account for up to 40% of population, including Ghana. To make the city of Accra more business-friendly, steps are underway to improve the addressing system. But after this initiative, many people still rely on informal directions and local landmarks, oblivious of the street names. In the meantime, the mail delivery system is mostly restricted to the postal addressing systems.
Now we hear different names and we don't know that the names is actually where we are living. Because we can hear number 5 Alugun to Way Street, where I stay as Printers. If you mention that name or you go to any place, they ask you your house number or your street name you mention. I don't think they know where it is. Maybe what they are doing is good, but they need to educate us more.
If you want to direct somebody to your house, it's very cheap, simple. Normally we do it in Nigeria, in helping them. So when I do it in Ghana, it's very good.
It is easier to direct people with the street naming system.
The street naming project will facilitate other government initiatives such as the National Identification Exercise and the National Population and Housing Census. It is required to promote community image and will be drawn from local history. This is aimed at promoting Ghanaian culture and tradition, including names of distinguished local rulers and landmarks.
Normally, the assembly invites the traditional authorities, opinion leaders, and then people who live in the assembly's area of jurisdiction into a meeting. And then they will do a historical analysis of persons and individuals who have contributed politically, economically, and socially to the development of that particular assembly. You don't need to know a person. You need to know what that person has contributed to the development of the country or of the assembly.
Economically, a proper addressing system would help in creating an enabling environment for businesses to thrive.
With that system, we actually improve the tax mobilization process, because for the first time we get to know where people live, and therefore the taxman can find them and tax them. Is that it also helps to move away from an on-demand economy to a credit economy. Now, on-demand economy is an economy that you pay as you go, which is predominantly what our economy is. And having an efficient addressing system encourages a credit environment. It will increase retail delivery, which therefore means also that it will birth other companies which come in to support that secondary and third economy from a logistics perspective.
There are 3 major types of addressing systems. They are street, building and postal addressing systems. The US and Europe both use the street names and building numbers. Reporting for GBC24, Shelley Annan, Accra.
And now TV gets results. A report aired by GBC24 about how some mobile concrete haulage companies spill their products on the roads in the capital is yielding the desired results. A follow-up shows that the Department of Urban Roads has started removing the concrete remnants from the road near the Association International School in Accra. The exercise is being carried out at night in order not to disrupt traffic.
This is not a construction team busy at work. These men from the urban roads are cleaning up the mess created by some mobile concrete haulage companies within Accra. It was fast becoming the norm for these companies to deposit already meshed concrete on some roads, despite the fact that the practice is contrary to Road Traffic Regulations 2012 LI 2180. Eventually, they dry up and become a nuisance, rendering the roads vulnerable to different types of deterioration. This affects the riding quality, causing unsafe situation for motorists. Roads affected included the runabout opposite Gold House at Kaukudi, Liberation and Patrice Lumumba roads towards Association International School, and the junction near Ghana Home Loans. Motorists at the time said the concrete remnant does not only mar the beauty of the asphalt but also has the tendency of destroying tires and possibly cause accidents. Almost a month later, a solution had been found to the menace aired on GBC24. Previously, this area was a sight to behold. The Department of Urban Roads have already taken the bull by the horn by scraping off all the concrete on the roads at Patrice Lumumba Link towards Association International School. The repair works, which was done late at midnight, saw some workers busy at work. 13 mobile concrete haulage companies within Accra have been surcharged to bear the cost, and each company is expected to pay 5,400 Ghana cedis, amounting to 70,000 Ghana cedis. However, the debris have been left on the shoulders of the roads. Mr. Ben Aduma, the Greater Accra Regional Director of Urban Roads, explains how this feat was achieved.
We started about three days ago, Urban Roads supervising from the regional office, supervising the removal of the residual concrete on the road. Yeah. We did an inventory on all the roads, on almost all the intersections that we have this concrete spilled over. So we've identified all of them, and then based on that, we submitted the bill to the police, and the police asked them to pay. Suddenly, when you start having concrete spill over on the asphalt, it's an eyesore, and it's not even good. In terms of safety-wise, I don't think it's even good. So we raised this, we spoke to them, and then we'll be making any attempt to get the police even to arrest those concrete mobile mixers.
To clear all the doubts, the news team drove from the Association International School towards 37 Military Hospital roads. The stretch was, however, yet to benefit from this concrete cleanup. It is hoped that the maintenance works will be replicated on all the asphalt roads that have suffered the same fate. Asphalt is an investment, and like any other investment, needs to be managed carefully. Road experts affirm that when these roads are constructed and maintained properly, they can last up to 25 years or more. For GBC24, Shelley Bewa reporting.
TV gets results indeed. Let's move on to the eastern region now. Tetekwashi's exploit in the then Fernando Po brought cocoa, and it has brought in billions of dollars into Ghana's economy. But the only state institution named after him, the Tetekwashi Memorial Hospital at Mampong in Ikuapem North in the eastern region, is crying for help. The 55-year-old hospital is yet to be renovated since it was built in 1961.
Tetekwashi was born in 1842 and grew to become a professional blacksmith. In the 1870s, he visited Fernando Po in Equatorial Guinea. 6 years later, he returned to Ghana with some cocoa beans, and being a farmer at heart, he planted the beans in Mampong, where he lived with his family member. Today, Ghana is the second largest cocoa exporter in the world. In recognition of his contribution to Ghana's economy, the Tetekwashi Memorial Hospital was built in Mampong, Ikuapem by Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. Over the years, the facility, which serves the people of Ikuapem North Municipality in the eastern region and its environs, has lost its shine. The visit by the Eastern Regional Minister, Madame Mavis Frimpong, was to know at first hand challenges being encountered and how best to find solutions to them. She was accompanied by members of the Regional Coordinating Council. They were taken round the facility, including the blood bank, laboratory, laundry, and records and OPD, among others. The building is old and needs painting. The elevators at the hospital are broken down, forcing patients and staff to use the stairs. Only one of the 5 washing machines was working at the time of the minister's visit. The government, through its quest to ensure quality healthcare delivery and increase access to health facility, has given the hospital 3 elevators to replace the broken ones, a 412 kilovolt generator, and refurbished the accident unit. In addition to this, an ultrascan and anesthetic machines have been provided to give the hospital a facelift. The medical superintendent of the hospital, Dr. Mauli Jacobo, disclosed that the staff strength stands at 390 with 275 nurses and 1 clinical psychologist. The 123-bed hospital serves a population of over 120,000 people, spanning the entire semi-urban Equiapim Ridge, its rural valley and beyond. On an average, the OPD attends to about 300 people per day. Dr. Jacobo hinted that the hospital is training some graduates in family medicine for palliative care aimed at helping people with cancer and stroke, among others. He, however, lauded government for coming to their aid and called for more support. The Eastern Regional Director of Health Services, Dr. Charity Sapon, assured government of their support in order to improve healthcare in the region.
We want to assure you that also concentrate and improve upon quality of healthcare, ensure that the patients get what they want when they come for services, so that at the end of the day, the report you also get will always be pleasant.
The Eastern Regional Minister, Madam Mavis Frimpong, said an all-hands-on-deck approach will better position the hospital as a memorial and tourism attraction.
Tete Kwashi Hospital is one of the hospitals that has historical background, and for that matter, the services that this hospital provides is so key not only to Ghana but to the West African sub-region.
The Tete Kwashi Memorial Hospital, established 55 years ago, has not seen any rehabilitation.
And staying in the health sector, as part of the World Immunization Week, the Ghana Health Service, in collaboration with its partners, has held a series of activities to ensure that children are immunized this year. One of such programs was held in the Ga municipality. It was to educate the public on the need to immunize their children and also report ailments early to health facilities.
The program was held in 11 communities in the Ga South municipality in the Greater Accra region. The communities are Tomefa, Botiano, Kokorobite, Gbawe, Tuba and Aplaku. The rest are Dentra, Akweman, Chokome, Nsioboy and Fase. The Executive Director of Integrated Development in Focus, Josephine Agbo, said the campaign on immunization for this year started on the 24th of last month. She said due to the misconceptions about some of the vaccines, the team had to go from house to house to educate parents on the need to immunize their children. Mrs. Josephine Agbo enumerated some of the challenges the team encountered.
Support with the vehicle so that we bring them and then put them at various positions in the communities so that they'll be able to cover every child.
The acting head of the Amanfrom Health Center, Mrs. Justina Kofi, said the center lacks vehicles to visit the communities for the immunization exercise.
What we need for that place to be able to be upgraded will be shelter, the shells that they can work under it, logistics like the skills and the vehicle. The main one is vehicle. If we get a vehicle, that one, we are done.
The program was sponsored by Global Alliance for Vaccine and Immunization in collaboration with the Ministry of Health and the Ghana Health Services.
Cases that are said to be pending before the country's law court stands at about 60,000. Addressing a jury's conference at the University of Cape Coast Faculty of Law, an appeals court judge, Justice Samuel Mafusau, attributed the challenge to the refusal of some judges to apply the CI-47, which is meant to shorten time cases spent in the law courts.
CI-47 was introduced to replace CI-87. The setting up of CI-47 was to help dispose of cases pending before the country's law courts expeditiously. The theme for the conference was Configuring the Law for Contemporary Ghana. The conference, which is an annual event of the University of Cape Coast Faculty of Law, features stakeholders including law practitioners across the country, judges, student lawyers, prosecutors and the public to discuss critical issues confronting the country's legal regime. An expert in the country's legal system spoke on the international criminal justice system.
The ICC does not have universal jurisdiction, though it has been clothed with the capacity to exercise jurisdiction over international crimes. Article 12.1 provides that, quote, a state which becomes a party to the statute thereby accepts the jurisdiction of the court with respect to the crimes referred to in Article 5. This thus limits the jurisdiction of ICC to the territory within which the crime occurred and the nationality of the perpetrator.
Later in an interview, an appeals court judge, Justice Samuel Mafusau, explained the intention behind the introduction of CI-47, which was introduced to replace CI-87.
It's a new law, so we are going around educating both lawyers and magistrates, lawyers and judges, so that they can apply it effectively.
The founding dean, Faculty of Law, Professor Philip Bonzi Simpson, shared his views on why there are many cases pending before the country's law courts.
The present arrangement, largely manual, should transit into largely computerized.
Development. The final funeral rites for the late Eastern Regional Police Commander DCOP Anwoputoge Awuni has been held in Accra.
The late Awuni had been heading the Motor Traffic and Transport Department of the Ghana Police Service before he was transferred to the Eastern Region as Regional Police Commander.
He passed away in March at the police hospital in Accra after a short illness.
In a tribute, his wife, Mrs. Florence Awuni, described him as a courageous man who was loved by many Ghanaians for his passion for work.
Hierarchy of the police service and other security agencies as well as the clergy were there to pay their last respects, and our thoughts are with his family. We'll take a break here.
We'll be back shortly with business. Welcome back to the news. In business this evening, EcoBank is projecting to grow by 20% in the 2016 financial year. The bank recorded an impressive financial performance in 2015 by increasing its revenue by 19% from 858 million Ghana cedis in 2014 to 1 billion Ghana cedis in 2015, making it the first to hit the benchmark in the country. The bank also ended 2015 with profit after tax of 321 million Ghana cedis. It therefore declared a dividend of 0.84 pesos per share for its shareholders for the 2015 financial year.
EcoBank is the leading Pan-African bank in Ghana with a branch network of 77 across the country. In the 2014-2015 financial year, total revenue increased from 857 to 1,023 billion Ghana cedis, representing 19% increase. Profit before tax grew by 3% from 446.941 million in 2014 to 458.560 Ghana cedis in 2015. Profit after tax grew from 319.3 965 million Ghana cedis in 2014 to 321.226 million Ghana cedis. Total assets increased by 16% from 5.8 billion Ghana cedis in 2014 to 6.7 billion Ghana cedis in 2015. Ecobank's capitalization grew from 798 million Ghana cedis in 2014 to 890 million Ghana cedis, 15% more than the regulatory threshold of 10%. Loans and advances saw 15% growth to 3.1 billion Ghana cedis. Total deposit also increased to 4.8 billion, recording 14% growth. The managing director of Central, Eastern and Southern African for Ecobank, Mr. Samuel Ashiteje, indicated that despite the economic challenges in the country, the bank endeavored to give its customers value for their investment.
Total equity stood at 890 million cedis, up 11% from the previous year, reflecting increased profit margins. Once again, Ecobank Ghana's credit ratings were affirmed at A- and A1+ by the Global Credit Rating Company. On the back of this performance, we propose a dividend of 0.84 cedis per share, up from 0.79 cedis declared last year.
In 2015, total impairment charges stood at 116 million Ghana cedis, representing 15% growth. But the acting managing director of Ecobank Ghana, Mr. Morgan Fianco-Esiedu, says the bank has put effective measures in place to reduce total impairment charges of the bank in 2016.
We project to make about 20% growth, year on year, and we are very confident of our ability to achieve the targets that we have set for ourselves. I believe that all the things that we have outlined, including the steps that we have put in place to, as I indicated, deal with the issue of the impairment, because that's the only thing which held our numbers back. So I am very confident that 2016, you will see a very good results from Ecobank.
Ecobank say the bank's performance has kicked up in the first quarter of this year, an indication that 2016 will be an improvement over what the bank recorded in 2015.
A professor of development economics at the University of Sussex, UK, Professor Andy McKay, says the gap between the rich and the poor in Ghana will continue to widen if the government does not find ways to solve inequality in the country. He says although Ghana has made progress in reducing poverty, much still needs to be done. Professor McKay was giving a lecture on inequality in Accra. The program was organized by the Ghana Statistical Service and UNICEF.
Ghana has experienced a steady increase in economic growth of about 7% per year on average since 2005. Following the attainment of middle-income country status in 2010 and the discovery of offshore oil reserves, per capita growth in the country has remained relatively high. Despite this growth, inequality has been increasing in the country and poverty remains prevalent in many areas. Given the importance of inequality in attaining the goal of poverty reduction in the country, a research was conducted on inequality in Ghana between 2006 and 2013. The results basically showed that inequality has been on the rise in Ghana since 1992. The study also revealed regions in Ghana with the highest levels of inequality. The Upper West region had the highest level of inequality and the largest increase in inequality since the 1990s. The Greater Accra region had the lowest level of inequality within the period. This means that some districts, communities or groups of people in certain regions, especially the north, are missing out on recent economic growth. A professor of development economics at the University of Sussex, UK, Professor Andy McKay, says Ghana needs a national policy which will ensure that the poorest benefit more equitably.
Ghana has done a good job of reducing poverty over the last 25 years or so, and many African countries have not been able to achieve what Ghana has achieved in terms of poverty reduction. But we need to recognize that there's a lot of poverty left, that some parts of the country are much more affected by poverty than others, and that at the same time as poverty has fallen, inequality has gone up, and that is a concern. That is something that we should be concerned about looking forward.
The government statistician, Dr. Philomena Nyako, said rising inequality in the country has led to increased poverty.
The increasing inequality is not helping us to reduce poverty. You may achieve growth, but it's not reflecting in a reduction in poverty because of the widening inequality between the rich and the poor. So we need to look at our own context. What will be the best in the case of Ghana and in terms of the interventions that we adopt? Are they realistic? Are we investing in social services that can help improve the situation of our people?
The report further states that lifeline programs for the extremely poor, such as the LEAP cash transfer, have benefited the poorest in the country, although some level of poverty still prevails. Beatrice Senaju, GBC24, Accra.
And that's it for business. We'll be back shortly with My Journey.
Hello, good evening. My name is Shirley Annan and welcome to My Journey. A famous quote by former South African President Nelson Mandela says, "There can be no keener revelation of a society's soul than the way in which it treats its children." This is evident at the airport city in Accra, where a good number of children have taken to begging and live on the streets.
Ghana's capital, Accra, has for the past couple of years seen its skyline changing at a very fast pace with high-rise buildings. But one area that seems to be getting the best of attention by first-time visitors is the airport city due to the sprouting of magnificent structures. While the splash area houses the blue-chip companies in the country, it is also a home for the supposed future leaders of the country who have been compelled by circumstances beyond their control to live on the streets. Right in front and around the Silver Star Tower in the capital, these children, numbering over 35, come from all over the country, but mainly from the Central, Volta and Greater Accra regions. Frederick says he has lived on and off the streets of Accra for about 3 years. He narrates his journey from the Ashanti region.
Independence. Your friend is shut on the independence. Because you are back. No, coy. Yeah, only be.
They seem to have found a bond and even new families on the streets. He explained to me that they belong to homes where they are not catered for. Others belong to homes for street children, yet they prefer living on the streets.
In the carving, school the
Ideally, the streets are the only place to seek refuge. Idris Ademu, also known as Skinny, who is a windscreen cleaner, doubles as the street guardian of these children. He tells us that from dawn to dusk, these children beg for money and food. He emphasized on the needs of the children.
Anytime they have any problem, they comfort me like, oh, someone is doing something to you, so I have to come and settle or I have to come and do anything I can do for them. I protect them till the time I close from work. Get them some place to sleep, then give them, take them to school. Maybe after school, they come back to home, then do whatever they want to do.
Article 5 and 6 of the UN Convention of the Rights of the Child stresses the need for parents and governments to ensure that children survive and develop healthily. This, however, cannot be said about these children. They are exposed to every form of social vice one can think of: theft, child prostitution, and even the use of marijuana. This 13-year-old has been sexually assaulted several times.
Na yɛ da hɔ no na da na mesɔre yɛkɔda ne se ɛna boy bi yɛfrɛ no Blackie ɛna Black papa bolo bi ma ne mi da hɔ na mbɛnya ne mi ɔnyɛ onyɛ no nkɔhyɛ ase ɛna mmea mo kɔm akpɔnti paa mmea mo kɔ no hɔta ma no sɛ ɔma wɛ blaze bɛfa me meka di no gya na meyɛ nyɛ wɔ kanes papa bi bɛfa yɛ na ɔgya yɛ motokyi na mde yɛkɔ ntɔm de yɛkɔdu fie hɔ no na ma yɛtena ase Oma yetina ase na omudi we kɔhyɛ kɔ na bi mu na papa ni ba ye no akɔrɔ na taade na ba na si mi wura dem hɔ iti mi wura dem hɔ no na si mi wura taade na mi blampa to mi ye bi mu ayi sɛ mi kasa awe na twi sika woni mpase ase mi kasa odi ba wɔ mi afa mi papa wɔ mpa ne sisa.
Cho is 12 but a queen of the streets already. She disclosed that she gambles with the money she gets from begging. Child abuse and neglect have immediate and long-term consequences not only on the development of the immediate family of these children, but also the nation as a whole.
A report from the Department of Social Welfare in 2012 indicates that there are over 64,000 children living on the streets in cities and towns in Ghana. We will follow up on this story until this yields some results. My name is Shelly Annan, and this is the beginning of my journey. Thank you for watching.
You're welcome back. Now, news on the foreign front. The Kenyan government said on Friday it will close 2 refugee camps, including one of the world's biggest, due to lack of security and economic challenges, as human rights groups condemn the plan. The closure of the camps will have adverse effects on the international community should collectively take responsibility for the humanitarian needs that arise. The government has disbanded the Department of Refugees Affairs, which works with the humanitarian organizations looking after the welfare of refugees. The voluntary repatriation process, in an agreement signed by the United Nations High Commission for Refugees, Kenyan government and the Somali government in 2013, has been very slow. Kenya has been hosting the refugees for nearly 25 years, and it has taken a toll on its country. The camps targeted for closure are Dadaab and Kakuma. And outside Africa, the only land convoy evacuating people trapped by a huge wildfire in the Canadian state of Alberta has been suspended after a 200 feet flame flanked the road. The convoy was made up of hundreds of people who fled their homes in Fort McMurray for oil worker camps north of the city. The fire is expected to double in size in the coming 24 hours. The fire now covers an area larger than New York City, and more than 80,000 people have fled their homes. Tens of thousands of people have been evacuated by air, with 300 flights to the provincial capital, Edmonton, since Tuesday, and another 4,000 are due to leave on Saturday. No deaths or injuries have been reported. And that'll be all in the international news. We'll be back with sports. Do stay with us.
As part of activities marking the 2016 European Week celebration, the European Union, in partnership with the Ministry of Finance, has organized a volleyball competition for selected senior high schools in Accra.
This year's theme for the celebration in Ghana was dubbed Ghana-EU Partnership in Action. The European Union delegation in Ghana, in partnership with the Ministry of Finance, as part of events lined up for the celebration, has organized a volleyball competition for some selected schools in Accra. They included St. Thomas Aquinas, Laboni Senior High, Accra Girls Senior High, Presec Osu, and Accra High School. In the ensuing matchups, Laboni Senior High sporting blue, black and white stripes took on Accra High. Laboni Senior High won the encounter 30 points to 13. In another keenly contested game, Osu Presec in blue and white jerseys also battled Accra Girls. Presec emerged victorious, winning 30 to 15. For the females, Presec took the first position, second going to Laboni, and the third place went to Accra Girls. In the men's division, St. Thomas Aquinas won the day after beating Presec Osu with 15 scores to 12, placing them second with Accra High, taking the third place. The head of the Macroeconomic and Trade section of the EU delegation threw more light on the event.
We are going to celebrate the Ghanaian anthem on Monday as well as the European anthem, together with the choir of St. Aquinas. But we thought we would enlarge it a bit this year, so we have invited even more schools to have a bigger celebration.
Deserving team students were awarded with trophies and certificates.
Also in sports, the Premiership returned to action this weekend, and at the Stadium of Light, Chelsea lost 3-2 to bottom side Sunderland. Elsewhere, Norwich City failed to climb out of the relegation zone as they fell to Manchester United by a lone goal. And that's it for sports. Entertainment is next.
Now to the arts and entertainment. Senegal music is best known abroad due to the popularity of Mbalax, and that is a Sere Samba drumming by Youssou N'Dour. Now we'll take a break and look at what Senegal music sounds like.
And thank you so much for staying on for the news. We'll be back at 10:30 with This Week.